The Olympic Village in Munich lay soaked in pre-dawn silence. It was 4:30 in the morning on the 5th of September, 1972. Inside the low-slung apartment blocks, the world's athletes slept deeply behind a single, flimsy chain-link fence. Their only protection came from unarmed security men in violet-colored jackets. 8 men in tracksuits scaled that fence without difficulty. They carried sports bags loaded with Kalashnikov rifles, grenades, and rope. They moved without a sound into the calm of the Israeli quarters at 31 Kanalstrasse, a short walk from where the world would soon watch in horror. Inside, wrestling coach Moshe Weinberg heard a scratching at the door. He opened it and saw masked faces. He threw his body against the door, shouting a warning that saved his teammates, and died moments later in the hallway, the first of many. The intruders rampaged through the apartment, dragging athletes from their beds. Weightlifter Yosef Romano grabbed a kitchen knife and lunged, but they shot him repeatedly. Within minutes, 11 Israeli athletes, coaches, officials were bound and taken hostage. By dawn, television cameras had arrived outside the village as the sun rose. The first images beamed across the globe, a masked gunman standing on the balcony of the Israeli bloc, the world's first live broadcast of a hostage crisis. An estimated 900 million people watched. The group called itself Black September. They demanded the release of 234 prisoners held in Israeli jails and safe passage to an Arab capital. The deadline, noon. If the demands were not met, each hostage would be executed on the hour. German negotiators tried to buy time. They offered money, then a German official as a substitute hostage. The masked men on the balcony refused every offer. Each passing hour tightened the noose around the village, as a horrified world watched. By evening, the Germans hatched a desperate plan. They would transfer the terrorists and hostages to Fürstenfeldbruck Air Base, pretending a plane would take them to Cairo. Instead, police snipers lay in ambush inside a Lufthansa airliner. But they lacked radios and night vision. The hostages, bound and blindfolded, were marched across the tarmac at the Olympic Village to 2 Bell UH-1 helicopters. Rotors chopped the cool night air as the machines lifted off, ferrying everyone toward a trap that was already falling apart. At the airfield, only 5 police marksmen with standard rifles faced 8 gunmen, and they had no two-way radios. When the 2 helicopters landed on the floodlit apron, confusion took hold. The snipers were unsure who to shoot. A confused firefight erupted. The terrorists threw a grenade into the first helicopter, then opened fire on the bound men inside. In the blinding flashes, one hostage after another was executed. The rescue had become a massacre. Within the hour, a German spokesman mistakenly announced that the operation had succeeded and all hostages were alive. The error circled the globe on radio and television. Only later did the truth surface, a catastrophic failure that left a nation speechless. When the shooting stopped, all 11 Israeli hostages were dead, along with a German police officer and 5 of the gunmen. The world stared at the Olympic flame, still burning above the empty stadium, as though nothing had happened. The International Olympic Committee halted the competition for 1 day, then ordered the games to continue. A memorial ceremony was held in the stadium, with flags at half-mast and a somber wreath. The decision to carry on stained the Olympic ideal for decades. Munich rewrote the playbook for major events. Athlete villages became walled enclaves with armored vehicles. Airport screening hardened overnight. The German government created GSG-9, its first elite counter-terrorism unit, trained in combat shooting and assault tactics. In Israel, grief turned to fury. Prime Minister Golda Meir authorized a secret campaign of retribution. The directive was blunt: find the men who planned Munich and eliminate them, one by one, no matter where they hid, no matter how long it took. Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, assembled a list. It held the names of the surviving gunmen, but also the planners, financiers, and handlers spread across Europe and the Arab world. The hunt would be patient, precise, and morally heavy, a shadow war with no declared end. The operation opened quietly in Rome. Wiles Waiter walked into his apartment lobby after dinner and was shot 11 times with a silenced pistol. Mossad believed he coordinated logistics for the Munich attack. The manhunt had begun. In Paris, Mossad turned a telephone into a bomb. Mahmoud Hamshari, a PLO representative suspected of arming the Munich operation, answered a call in his office. A detonator hidden inside the phone's base exploded, killing him instantly. In Cyprus, agents burst into a hotel room and eliminated 2 more suspects in a blaze of gunfire. Each strike sent a message through the underworld: the architects of Munich would find no sanctuary, no matter how far they ran. The most dramatic blow came in Beirut in 1973. Sayeret Matkal commandos, including future Prime Minister Ehud Barak, infiltrated the city by sea and raided 2 PLO headquarters. They killed 3 top leaders and escaped before dawn. Then the hunt stumbled. In the Norwegian town of Lillehammer, a Mossad team shot Moroccan waiter Ahmed Bouchiki, believing he was Ali Hassan Salameh, Black September's chief of operations. He was the wrong man, gunned down on a snowy street in a case of catastrophic mistaken identity. Norwegian police arrested several of the hit team, and the entire secret operation was exposed in a very public trial. The myth of the untouchable Avenger cracked open. The world learned the name Mossad and the cost of its mission. Despite the scandal, Mossad did not stop. Ali Hassan Salameh, the operation's chief architect known as the Red Prince, remained elusive for years. He slipped between safe houses in Beirut, protected by charm and a vast network of informants. In January 1979, Salameh drove past a parked Volkswagen loaded with explosives in Beirut. A female operative, using the alias Erica Chambers, had observed his routine for weeks. The car bomb detonated, ending the manhunt's longest search. By the early 1980s, the campaign had reached across continents. Gunmen in Paris, bombers in London, quiet killings in Cyprus. Nearly every name on Mossad's list was crossed off, each elimination a cold entry in a dossier that grew thicker with blood. But the campaign was not bloodless. Innocent lives were upended, European nations condemned the extrajudicial killings, and some inside Mossad questioned whether the cycle of violence truly brought justice or only fed an endless hunger for revenge. The debate never settled. The men who pulled triggers lived with the weight of each operation. And the families of the Munich victims, though aware of the retribution, carried a grief that no killing could erase. The wound remained open. Operation Wrath of God became a case study in targeted killing. It shaped intelligence doctrine, inspired books and films, and left behind a trail of closed files and open wounds, a legacy of quiet vengeance measured against an impossible loss that still echoes in the intelligence community. For decades, the International Olympic Committee resisted formal commemoration of the Munich victims at subsequent games. Families petitioned for a moment of silence, but the request was denied year after year, buried under the bright spectacle of sport. Finally, in 2012, just before the London Olympics, an official moment of silence was held inside the Olympic Village itself. It had taken 40 years for the Games to publicly honor the 11 slain athletes, standing still long enough to remember. Today, the empty apartment at Kanalstrasse remains a quiet monument without a plaque. Names are whispered in the courtyard by those who know where history paused. The air feels heavy under the morning sun, as though the silence remembers. The Munich attack was a before and after moment. It proved that no sanctuary was inviolable, that a sports stage could become a platform for terror. And the pursuit of justice could travel far, long, and dark and still never fully bring back the light.